Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. My dear students, let us now start our lesson. It is business studies and you are the students of class 12th commerce. I am Mohd Amin, lecturer commerce, higher secondary school, Swagam. Today our topic is external limitations of planning. I have already told you, I have given it you in writing that there are two kinds of limitations faced by planning. One type of limitations I have already told you, these are internal limitations, and now we are going to discuss the external limitations of planning. My dear students, it is chapter 4th. In that very chapter, you can find this very topic, external limitations of planning. I already told you that planning is what to do, when to do, how to do, and who is to do. These are the different aspects. These are different headings which we can discuss in this planning chapter. So now, we are going to tell you something about the external limitations of planning. So the first limitation of planning, that is technological change. अब हम जो आपको बताने जा रही है यह है कि प्लानिंग जो है इसकी खामियां क्या है, इसकी कमजोरियां क्या है. लेकिन वो खामियां और कमजोरियां जो हैं वो बाहरी तरफ से, बाहरी दुनिया से, वो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो है इसके अंदर से वो खामियां पैदा नहीं हो रही है, बल्कि उसके लिए बाहरी ढांचा जो है, बाहरी दुनिया जो है वो इसके लिए जिम्मेदार है. तो उसका फर्स्ट थिंग दैट इज टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंज. माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, यू नो दैट इन प्रिवेलिंग वर्ल्ड देयर इज टेक्नोलॉजिकल चेंज. इट इज इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ एवरी बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. There are changes in technology day in and day out. We see that the technological change, it is inevitable. It cannot be avoided. It is inevitable for every type of business. But these technological changes, as it is a limitation for the planning, because a planner, a manager, an organizer, he has already decided, he has already forecast that what type of changes in terms of technology I have to do. And he does not expect any further change. So when he is going to, inevitably he has to go for a change. It needs new technology, it needs more capital, it needs different things. So he had not expected these things, these technological changes in outside world. So it's a limitation. It is an external limitation of planning, because planning we have to decide in advance. We have to forecast. We have to predict the things. And when there is abrupt technological change in outside world, it adversely affects on planning. And in that very case, our planning fails, because we have not sufficient finance for that. We are not expecting this change from outside. So it's a limitation with the planning. Second thing is innovations. Innovations, I already told you that planning, it is an action taken by the top level management. So the middle level and the lower level of management, it has nothing to do with the planning. In case these lower levels, if they want any innovation, if they are capable enough to innovate the things within the organization, but planner has already decided that what we have to do, when we have to do, how we have to do. So this lower and middle level of this management, it cannot afford all these innovations. They cannot do anything of their own, because they are dependent upon that very planning which has been done by the top level, which has been done by the manager. So it's a limitation that planning cannot do innovations, because he has already decided. Although in this competitive world, when there are different changes, planning organization has to change the things. He has to do the innovations, but planning limits that. Planning hinders that. Planning does not allow these things to do within the organization. So it's a limitation, and it is limitation from the outside. Third is change in government policies. My students, you know already that government policies are there in every type of business activities. When in this type of in the planning, when there is a change in government policy, whether that is change in inflation, whether that is change in interest rate, but it adversely affects the planning, because a planner has not already decided that there will be a change. He has not already decided the things regarding the policies of the government. If there is abrupt change from the government point of view, it adversely affects the planning, and the planning fails at that very junction. So it is a limitation with the planning, because this change happens in the outside world. It is from the government point of view, but the organization does not afford this change. So it's a limitation. Fourth is competitive products. You students know that we are living in a competitive world. We are living in such a world that we have to compete at every step of life. And this happens also in the business world. In business world, we have competition at every step of every step. And when there is this planning, there is a competition in products. There is development in product. There are different changes in product. And these changes in production or in the changes in the services, they are done by our competitors. We have to make the change, but the planning does not allow it, because planner has already decided. He has forecast things that what we have to do in future. And when in the outside world there are changes by our competitors, and we cannot afford these competitions. So it is a limitation with the planning. It is a limitation with the planning, and this limitation, it adversely affects the planet. And fifth thing is change in fashions, tastes, and preference. Dear students, you know that there are changes at every time. There are changes in tastes. There are different preferences by different people. And when in business world, you know that there are the fashions change. And when we were young, we had different fashions, and when you are young now, your fashions are different, your tastes are different, and your preferences are different. Same happens with the planner, that he has to make the change in fashion, in taste and preference, and he has not predicted this thing in advance, so it adversely affects our planning. Our planning fails at that very point, because we have not made the provisions in the planning that there will be a fashion change, there will be a taste change, or there will be a preference change. And last but not the least, it is the act of God. We know that planner has already forecast things, but there are natural calamities. You know that we are living in a world which is gripped by a disaster, which is gripped by a horrible disease that we know as coronavirus. And it is act of God. A planner cannot plan about these things. Planner cannot plan about earthquakes. Planner cannot plan about the floods. These are the acts of God, and planner has nothing. The planner has no role in these things. So planner has never predicted about the acts of God. And these acts of God, they are from the outside world. And within the organization, the organizer or the planner has no role to play. So my dear students, this is enough for the day, and these are the 6 limitations which are from the outside world within the organization, and I hope that you would have got it. I already told you that this is chapter 4.9. We can go through it, and hopefully I will drop this page on which this question is written, and you will memorize it. Hope that you will do. So be safe in your homes and try to go through these chapters, through these lessons, so you can pass your exam successfully, inshallah, tomorrow.